Welcome back to Dream Car Update, where innovation meets inspiration, and the stories behind the wheel go far beyond engines and speed. Here we celebrate not only the vehicles that define our dreams, but also the human spirit that drives them. Today's story takes us into the heart of compassion, chance, and destiny. It's about a man who had everything money could buy: fame, fortune, and access to the world's best doctors. Yet when life pushed him to the edge, salvation came not from science or wealth, but from the kindness of a stranger with no degree, no prestige, just a heart full of empathy. This is 2026. He spent millions on 50 doctors, but a waitress with no degree saved his life. A story that reminds us that sometimes the most powerful medicine in the world isn't found in a hospital. It's found in the quiet words of someone who refuses to give up on you. Buckle up and join us as we explore how a simple act of humanity inside a cozy roadside diner changed the course of one man's life forever. Set against the gleaming backdrop of the 2026 Dreamliner Horizon motorhome, where his journey of rediscovery began. Main script, approximately 250 words. The morning sun rose slowly over the hills of Alberta, casting golden light across the parking lot of a quiet roadside diner. Inside, the smell of coffee and maple pancakes filled the air. At a corner booth sat a man in his late 40s, dressed sharply in a designer coat. Yet his eyes told another story: tired, empty, lost. His name was William Hartman. Once the CEO of Hartman Technologies, one of Canada's biggest innovation firms, he was a man used to solving the impossible. But now his own body had turned against him. For the past 2 years, William had battled a mysterious illness that no one could diagnose. He'd spent millions visiting 50 different doctors across the world. Specialists from Switzerland, Tokyo, even private clinics in New York, yet every test came back inconclusive. His health declined, his company faltered, and his world shrank to the size of his suffering. That morning, he'd stopped at the diner out of sheer exhaustion, traveling alone in his luxury 2026 Dreamliner Horizon motorhome, a rolling home of glass, steel, and comfort. But none of its technology could ease the ache in his chest or the weakness that gripped his hands. As he stirred his untouched coffee, a cheerful voice interrupted his thoughts. Rough morning. He looked up to see a waitress, maybe in her early 30s, with bright hazel eyes and a tired smile. Her name tag read Emily. Something like that, he muttered. Well, she said, pouring him more coffee. Lucky for you, caffeine cures 90% of bad mornings. The other 10% just need a good breakfast. He almost smiled. Not sure coffee can fix this. She tilted her head. Try me. I've seen worse days than most people believe. For the first time in weeks, he laughed softly. There was something disarming about her. Simple, genuine. As she refilled cups and chatted with other customers, William watched her move. She greeted everyone by name, checked on an old man's blood sugar, and even gave a shy kid a free muffin when his mom couldn't afford one. When she came back, William asked, "You always take care of everyone like this?" She shrugged. "Guess I just like people. Sometimes they just need someone to notice." Something about those words hit him harder than any medical advice he'd heard in 2 years. Over the next few days, he found reasons to stay. He parked his motorhome behind the diner, saying he liked the view. But really it was the way Emily made him feel, alive, seen, human again. They talked often between her shifts. She told him about her past, how she once studied nursing but dropped out to care for her sick mother. How she'd learned about herbs, meditation, and natural healing from her grandmother, who ran a small home clinic in Newfoundland. One evening, as the sun dipped behind the horizon, William suddenly felt dizzy. His hands trembled and he collapsed near the counter. "William!" Emily rushed over, kneeling beside him. She noticed his lips were pale, his pulse weak but racing. She didn't panic. Instead, she guided him to breathe, loosening his collar and pressing her hand to his chest. "You're not dying," she whispered firmly. "You're panicking. Slow down." He gasped, trying to steady his breath. Within minutes, the episode passed. She brought him warm water and helped him sit. When the paramedics arrived, she told them calmly what had happened, refusing to let them over-medicate him. Later that night, she sat by his motorhome where he lay resting. "You shouldn't have helped me," he said weakly. You don't even know me, she smiled. I didn't help a CEO. I helped a man who forgot how to breathe. That night something changed. Days turned into weeks. Under Emily's watch, William began to recover, not through pills or treatments, but through simple living. She taught him to walk barefoot in the grass at dawn, to eat clean, and to meditate by the lake. She brewed teas made from wild herbs and insisted he keep a journal, not of symptoms, but of gratitude. At first, he resisted, but as the days passed, he began to feel lighter. His pain lessened. The fog lifted from his mind. He laughed again. He ate without fear. By the time spring arrived, William's energy had returned. The doctors couldn't explain it, but he didn't need them to. One afternoon, as Emily cleaned the counter, he approached her with an envelope. "I owe you more than I can ever repay," he said. She chuckled. "If you're about to offer me money, don't bother. I already have enough tips for the week." He shook his head. "It's not money. It's a job offer." He handed her a letter with his company seal. "Hartman Foundation. I want you to lead our new wellness division. No degrees required, just your heart." She stared at him in disbelief. "William, I'm a waitress." He smiled. "You're a healer. The world just doesn't have a title for it yet." She hesitated, tears filling her eyes. "Why me?" "Because you did what 50 doctors couldn't. You made me want to live again." The news spread quickly. The billionaire CEO who had vanished returned with a story no one expected. At a press conference months later, William stood beside Emily and spoke publicly for the first time. "For years," he said, "I believed that science alone could save me. I chased cures, formulas, diagnoses, but what I needed was connection. Healing isn't just medical, it's human." He paused, glancing at Emily, who stood quietly beside him. "This woman reminded me that compassion heals deeper than medicine ever could. And because of that, we're building a foundation to bring kindness back into care." The crowd erupted in applause. The Hartman Foundation went on to fund hundreds of rural clinics across Canada, blending modern science